Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where?
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like fucker? You fucker, fucker!
Huh? What the f?
Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime. I'm your online voice for reviews of your choice. I should have reviewed this movie a while ago. As I said in my past couple online reviews, I've been getting kind of late in getting these things out on quote-unquote time. Unfortunately, I'm currently in graduate master's school right now for counseling and college, so it's been very difficult keeping up with this work as well as my other projects and activities, so please bear with me in that. And the movie I will be reviewing today is the comedy movie The Hangover. The Hangover is brought to you by Warner Bros. Pictures. It was directed by Todd Phillips and written by John Lucas and Scott Moore. Supposedly this is directed by the same guy who made Old School, starring Will Ferrell. This movie, however, stars Bradley Cooper as Phil Wennick, Ed Helms as Stu Price, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but Zach Galifianakis as Alan Garner, Justin Bartha as Doug Billings, and Heather Graham as Jade. The plot of The Hangover. The Hangover is a movie about this guy named Doug who is going to get married in a couple of hours, and his three friends, Alan, Stu, and Phil, decide to take him out to Las Vegas the night before his wedding in order for a memorable bachelor's party that he will never ever forget. When they get to Las Vegas, they celebrate a toast on top of the roof of the hotel, and the next thing they know, they wake up face down in the dirt with things like chickens, tigers, destroyed TVs, towels, and fires everywhere. And on top of that, Doug is missing. Phil, Stu, and Alan have no idea what happened, what they did last night while they were completely wasted, so now they must retrack their steps and try and find where Doug is before time runs out for him to get back home for the wedding. Review of the plot. This is actually a pretty amusing plot as far as just saying it on its own. And actually, it sounds very, very similar to Dude, Where's My Car? Just not with aliens and Swedish people and weird stuff. But I like the idea of having these guys wake up and just having no idea what the hell is going on. And what I like especially about this is that they never actually fully reveal what happened. They never really show you what they did or when they came in and out of it. We get brief glimpses of things they were doing while they were totally smashed and some of the crazy shit that they did, but we never get a full idea of really what just happened that night, and I really like that. This plot is very creative in the sense that it leaves you a lot of open area. You can go anywhere. I mean, Las Vegas is a crazy-ass place, and when you get totally smashed and have no idea of what happened last night, a lot can happen, especially like losing a friend. So this really worked in terms of presenting a lot of open elbow room to put out a lot of funny material. And I gotta say, even when we finally figured out what happened to Doug, I'm not gonna say what, it's not spoiling anything, I was kind of surprised. I never would have thought of that. I mean, it was just like, maybe I should have thought of it, but I don't know, it was pretty well conceived. Review of the characters. Most of these guys I had not been too familiar with. Zach Galifianakis as Alan Garner, I had seen him before in Out Cold, and I thought he was particularly funny in this. And I've seen Justin Bartha, of course, in like National Treasure and that. But the one who really stood out for me, and from what I've read from every other critic who's reviewed this, even if they hated it, they all commended Ed Helms as Stu Price, who's better known to most people as Andy Bernard from The Office, which is an awesome show. I absolutely love it. It's hysterical. And I totally agree. Ed Helms was freaking awesome in here. He was probably the funniest, and he was the most range. I mean, he didn't just sink into a lumped character personality, and he really fleshed out some unique little, performances and all throughout the film. And he has great comedic timing, and I'm so glad people are seeing that he is such a really good actor. As I think he deserves a little more credit for the work he does in Office. He seems, of course, a little showered out by Rainn Wilson as Dwight and Steve Carell as Michael Scott, but still. actually, there's just really good performances from everyone all around. Zach Galifianakis as Alan was absolutely hilarious. He's probably one of the dumbest characters I've ever seen in my life, so commending to him for actually pulling off a convincing moron. Justin Bartha, he was good. Heather Graham, I hadn't seen her in a while. I really liked her in this role. She didn't seem to be too flat as she had in other roles. I kind of felt she had been in other times, so I really liked her in this. I didn't particularly care for Bradley Cooper as Phil Wennick because he seemed too stuck in a one-dimensional kind of character, and he didn't really flesh out the character too much, at least not enough that what I would call noteworthy. And you got a lot of funny other performances from a wide variety of people. You got Mike Epps, who was very funny here as I'm not going to say who because that'll spoil it. I heard I need to do that, so forget that. Jeffrey Tambor, who Sid Garner, the dad of Alan. Ken Jeong as Mr. Chow, who's just hysterical. I mean, I know he seems really racist, and it probably seems like a really cheap joke how they use him, but he was just hysterical. I thought he was really funny. And this movie really did have a lot of humor. I mean, and that's great because what's funny about it is the absurd weirdness of it. I mean, we're talking frickin' tigers, Mike Tyson, cop cars, and Asian mafia, just a lot of weird shit. And it really worked because some of these moments work just so well, not only with the weirdness of the moment, but just the delivery of the lines from the characters and their reactions to all the crazy shit that's going on. And they definitely pull off convincing performances in terms of waking up and finding out what the hell just happened. So I really like that. Review of the cinematography and music. Music was weird. It was like, it had like a really odd choice of music, so it was kind of hard to judge. Other times it works, like in the beginning, the opening song, I didn't really care for it. It seemed kind of too dark and too trudgy and didn't really fit it. Cinematography is beautiful, actually. They really used the camera well in terms of this because they got really good close-up shots of all the actors for their faces, which is good because most of the humor is done on these guys' facial reactions to everything. Particularly, like as I said, with Ed Helms. You get a lot of nice shots of Las Vegas. I mean, and the whole desert scene at times really helps improve on the severity of the situation. How the case becomes much more drier. That we gotta find Doug. Kind of running out. Kind of where the hell is he? What's going on? And they really make good use of that with their camera shots and angles. And they give a great shots of Las Vegas that I think look beautiful. And like I said, this is a very funny movie, and everything really enhances itself. It all works together and creates a very amusing, crazy-ass romp through Las Vegas. Flaws about the film. Now, this is going to sound a little weird, but see, I'm usually the first one to support when critics really like something, and usually it's a good thing. However, most people seem to be supporting this movie very highly, and I did feel good about that at first until I actually saw it, and to be honest, as much as I did enjoy it, the truth be told, and most people I have not told this because they think I'd probably be nuts for saying this, but in all honesty, there was nothing really new here. Aside from all the great performances from like Ed Helms, Zach Galifianakis, and Heather Graham, there really just wasn't anything really new here. There is nothing that is really done in this movie that outrages, that like shoots the bar of comedy any higher. There's nothing that's been done here that hasn't been done before in other movies. Maybe not all together, and certain things I do admit were quite brilliant in their own sense, but for the most part, this movie is it's a typical comedy movie. This doesn't break the barriers for anything. He doesn't go any new depths for humor, and I wasn't laughing so hard that I was crying, and that's not a bad thing, but it's just like, I really didn't feel that this movie broke any new boundaries. I mean, I was a little disappointed because I was maybe I was expecting too much of it from the guy from Old School, but I don't know. It didn't hit the high mark that everyone seemed to be hyping it up to be. And like I said, I was very disappointed with Bradley Cooper and some of the jokes, or at least some of the things like with the nagging wives thing. It just felt like it wasn't that funny after a while. The guys themselves were funny, but like some of the jokes they were using, making these like the wives all bitchy and naggy, it kind of came off as, I don't know, just cliche, like it's expected, very hollow characterizations for them, and it's good and it's funny, but I don't know, it just didn't hit the high point for me. Final wrap-up review. Hangover is a very funny movie. I basically want that to be very clear. I absolutely love the performances by Zach Galifianakis and Ed Helms, Heather Graham. I think there's a lot of really funny ideas here. It's got a great plot concept, and these guys really know how to act funny, but he just didn't. There's nothing new here. There's nothing that breaks any boundaries or barriers that stands out as any outrageous comedy movie that is a must-see. I would recommend seeing it, but it's not an absolute must-see. I wanted to give this movie higher, and I'm sorry for those who really liked it, but it just didn't hit the high point with me, and it didn't hit as high as I wanted to be on my score. Bottom line, I give The Hangover 2.5 stars out of 5. Thank you all for listening. This has been Bionic Slime, and bye for now.